Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So earlier on this week, Bitcoin created a new all-time high at $110,000 before shortly retracing all the way back down to 99k. We're going to dive into the charts today to talk about what's going to allow for an extended breakout into price discovery for Bitcoin, including what to look out for on both the high time frame and short time frame charts. As always though, before we get into all that, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday and Saturday. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram channel, and if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alrighty guys, so diving into the charts here, we can see it's been a pretty crazy last couple of days of price action, not to mention some crazy days in the markets overall with Trump's inauguration just yesterday, and of course his two quite famous meme coins, or one from him and one from Melania earlier on this week or over the weekend period. So if we take a look at market data, we can see just how crazy the price action has been. Liquidations were very high for an extended period of time, peaking at around $1 billion in total liquidations on the 19th of January and remaining quite high on a couple of days after that, only slowing down in the last 24 hours. If we take a look at 24-hour volume, we're down nearly 50%, open interest is up slightly at 4%, and 24-hour liquidations again down massively, 63%. So over the last 24 hours, we can see we've started to slow down a little bit in the price action, and we're approaching some sort of consolidation as Bitcoin attempts to break above the all-time high and sustain above that once again. So earlier on in the week, this is where we touched the new all-time high at $110,000. And we can see almost immediately after that, we retraced all the way back down to retest the top of our macro channel here at $100,000 and bounced on that as a base of support. So the high time frame charts continue to validate quite a bullish narrative. And particularly if we take a look at the RSI, we can see throughout all that volatility, momentum has still remained positive, which is a really good thing, guys, because that was one of the main things that we were really worried about in my last video, because when we dropped below here, we'd started to see momentum sort of dip below that trend line and turn negative once again for the first time in that sort of like falling back below that 2-month sort of trend line. If we take a look at the weekly chart as well, we can see that currently we're still a couple of days away from printing the close, but we're currently sort of retesting and engulfing as well the prior weekly candle close for the prior all-time high as well. So that's really good. All the high time frame charts are really shaping up quite bullish, but things still do depend on what happens on the short time frame and whether or not we manage to hold at these levels and continue to see a movement above 105,000 and into this zone of resistance. So let's dive into the charts today and specifically discuss the short time frame charts, our bullish validations there, what we're looking out for in terms of that continued breakout, and then our key validations on the high time frame chart and total 3. Before we get into the rest of the video, guys, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, BTC. We can get 15% off all of your trading fees and up to $5,500 in sign-up rewards when you create your free account using the link down in my description box. BTC is an emerging cryptocurrency exchange committed to providing you with a secure, convenient, and highly functional trading and investment platform. Available across all countries as a non-KYC exchange, get global access to over 150 trading pairs with minimal fees on both spot and futures contracts. Join today to get $5,500 in sign-up rewards and get 15% off all of your trading fees by signing up using the link in my bio or by using the code 1GG3 when you create your account. So diving into the short time frame charts, what we can see here is honestly overall still quite bullish. We can see that despite all this volatility that we've experienced from the price action chopping between $100,000 and $108,000, Bitcoin has continued to still form higher highs on these short time frame charts. We have, higher lows. We have the sort of range low here at $89,000, and we've continued to develop those sort of higher lows despite continued rejections from this level of resistance, beginning at $105.7 thousand up to $108,000. So that is a good sign. And we have an uptrend here as well, our structural uptrend beginning from last Wednesday. So we've been in this trend line for about a week now. And while we continue to hold above the trend line, the trend is your friend until it ends. So while Bitcoin continues to remain above the uptrend and we continue to print those higher lows, the more likely expectation is that we are going to continue to see bullish price action on the short time frame until breaking above 108 and seeing, I guess, that sort of parabolic price discovery behavior. However, what we can also see on this chart, so we're on a 4-hour time frame here, is that throughout these retests of resistance at the top here, we've seen decreasing momentum, right? So potentially printing some bullish exhaustion here on the chart. So despite the fact that the buyers are holding these lows and we continue to absorb the selling pressure experienced here, we are beginning to exhaust. And eventually, or if we don't manage to, I guess, break out of this and flip momentum to the upside or the positive and break out of this downtrend, we risk the potential of losing our uptrend over here after an extended period of decreasing momentum, and in falling below the prior low, experience a change of character and fall back into a downtrend on the short time frame price action. So essentially then, what we need for Bitcoin to actually break out of 108,000 and continue in price discovery is, first of all, RSI to flip positive here on the charts. We want to see that despite this sort of selling pressure experienced over here in this level of resistance, Bitcoin is able to push past that, flip momentum to the positive, and also flip $108,000 from a level of resistance to a base of support. We want to see on the 4-hour time frame a close above that level, a retest of 108.3, and then a bullish continuation there on forth. That is going to, I guess, signal that this level has been flipped. Now, what we can also see on this chart is confluence for this level of support, or the uptrending support, at our trend line. So the first one is going to be the 50 EMA, or this blue squiggly line here, at around $102.3 thousand. Now that is going to act as a dynamic level of support, as it has done in the latter end of the trend line over here, right? And so potentially in our next retest of the trend line, we have structural support being our trend line itself, the structure, the dynamic support at the 50 EMA, as well as horizontal support at $102.5 thousand. All of that preventing the price from falling below that level. So essentially, while we remain above that, we are short time frame bullish, right? And then waiting for our bullish validation, or our trigger, being the flip of the RSI, or the momentum, to be positive, and an establishment of 100.8 thousand being support to trigger continuous price discovery. Now, falling below our uptrend and, I guess, sort of invalidating the short time frame bullish narrative, we have our first potential correction scenario being a retracement to retest the change of character level, or the prior low in that uptrend. We can see we have a little bit of a volume gap taking us right to that level. Now, below that, if Bitcoin falls below the 100K support level, or the top of that macro channel, we have our next level of support at $98,000 right here, and just at the next available level of horizontal support as well. Now, flipping below this is most likely when we establish a short time frame bearish narrative, right? Because we have lost the uptrend very clearly. We started developing a downtrend here on the short time frame charts, and in falling below the range low of that uptrend, we're very likely to then see a continued bearish move back down to retrace the base of that macro horizontal channel back down at 91,000. Moving back into the high time frame charts, we can sort of validate that analysis that falling below $98,000 solidifies the bearish sort of flip of the narrative over here by taking a look at the distinct lows created on the daily chart over here. Once again, they've been higher lows, and if we fall below $98,000 and we go on to, I guess, under the assumption that we're retracing those levels created by those lows, we're very likely to then fall down to $91,000 upon re-entry of that range, of course, as well, and retest the range low for that sort of macro channel structure. As of right now, though, of course, Bitcoin is still very much above our short time frame uptrend. Things are still looking good. We're just waiting for that momentum shift to validate the immediate move back upwards, or I guess the leading validation for the move back upwards, and a retest of 108,000. So with all that in mind, let's go over and take a look at TOTAL3 and how the altcoin market has held up throughout this period of volatility. So moving over to take a look at the rest of the cryptocurrency market, we can see that throughout the last period of Bitcoin volatility, TOTAL3 has retraced some really crucial levels. So starting off with resistance, our current key and most important level of resistance that we're watching right now is $1.1 trillion. It's created by the prior high in this sort of previous downtrend over here and breakout structure. Now, if we're able to break above $1.1 trillion and flip that to a level of support, we can then expect another move to retest the closing price for the all-time high for the TOTAL3 market cap at 1.13 trillion, and in breaking above buy-side liquidity at 1.16, a movement into price discovery for the first time for the TOTAL3 market, obviously being very, very bullish. So what we're looking for then in terms of the short time frame price action here for TOTAL3 is some strength, right? What's going to show us that we're approaching this level of resistance with more strength than we did in this prior retest over here. And so to do that, we have to take a look at the smaller time frame charts. So zooming into the 4-hour chart, we can actually see something on TOTAL3 that we have yet to see on Bitcoin, and that is this bullish shift here on the RSI. So very similar to Bitcoin, as we've approached these upper levels of resistance here at 1.1 trillion, we've seen decreasing momentum here for altcoins, right? Which has very recently changed. We've seen a leading shift in momentum, therefore signaling that this next retest of 1.1 trillion has a higher probability of establishing that level as a base of support on the short time frame, thereby facilitating a break upwards to test 1.13 and 1.16 trillion dollars. Now, if we zoom out onto the 12-hour charts, we can see our sort of key bullish validations, and that is going to be our downtrend over here, as well as the 50 EMA. We can see it was flipping that level and breaking above the downtrend is when TOTAL3 established quite a bullish narrative on the high time frame charts. And so we want to see both those things continue to be respected in order to continue to validate the bullish case scenario. If we see TOTAL3 otherwise flip back into our downtrend over here and confluence at that 50 EMA, we're very likely to then see a continued correction to retest the next available level of macro support at $950 billion. And then of course, just below that, the 200 EMA and our, I guess, sort of dead cat bounce level of support, our bull market, bear market trigger at $840 billion. And we can see that even clearer on the weekly chart, just how important that level is. Alrighty guys, that is all the analysis that I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram for daily updates as well as crypto and economic news. And if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. And if you are a trader, don't forget to sign up down below to BitUnext to get 15% off all of your trading fees. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!